Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Got some of my loaded fries on my face today. Thank you, Sister Kim's. It's all gone now. I usually show you guys my loaded fries before I dive into them, but I was starving tonight. I don't know where I got this burst of energy from. I'm tired as fuck. But it's probably going to last about 20, 30 minutes, and I'm going to go to bed and do it all over again tomorrow. We just got done with our Rock Your Picture show tonight. I think Clint is in the chat. Clint was there. Clint had fun. Way more people than I thought. Did not really push this show as much because of the situation. We were moving. The nunnery who houses our show was moving to a different spot in the plaza. So it was really tough to get everything going, helping them move and getting everything the way it needed to be. Had a new cast director involved. Got it. He did very well tonight. I mean, really probably the least stressful show that I've had in a long time. Still had some mechanical things go on, but like I said, we were moving into a brand new place for this show, so a lot more could have gone wrong, and it did not. I think we had a pretty good crowd. We had a lot of people there tonight, more than I thought. We doubled my expectations, so happy about that. But it was fun. We hadn't done a show in quite a while, so we're getting ramped up for our Halloween stuff. So my favorite time of the year. Welcome to a somewhat impromptu Midnight Express. I'm quite certain we won't have Brad, because Brad gets up early in the morning on Saturday mornings to get kicked around by kids. So, and he's on the East Coast, so I doubt we'll see him tonight, and understandable. So yeah, happy weekend, because fuck this week. My goodness. Ugh. All kinds of crazy shit's going on this week. It's varying degrees. It's not like, most of the stuff, like the Paramount stuff, we're going to dive in detail tomorrow. Because there's a lot of, like I said, we kind of got into it with the Peacemaker show, but there's a lot more to get into tomorrow. We're going to talk WrestleMania going to Saudi Arabia. And they did it the day after 9/11. It's like, wow, a lot of people are pissed about that. A lot of people are pissed that you're hosting a WrestleMania on foreign soil to begin with. But there are a lot of people in the community that don't have a good feeling about the Saudi regime right now. So, and WWE doesn't care. And then Nick Khan made a statement a couple of days ago. I think it was Nick Khan when people were complaining about the prices of WWE going up, and Nick Khan saying, "Well, Vince priced it so that the family could get through." And what they're doing is they're just taking whoever has the most money. And here's where AEW can come in, and he has the money to not have to rely. I mean, you want to make it profitable, but he doesn't have to charge through the nose to be successful. If you give people a good, cost-effective wrestling product, they're going to go. Vince McMahon proved that. It used to be super cheap to go to a WWE show, even when they came out to here. It was not expensive to go to WWE shows. That was one of the things about WWE. You could go to Raw or SmackDown unless you were sitting at ringside. You weren't really paying that much. It was one of the things about WWE a lot of the other things about the product that I don't like, but their price control under Vince McMahon was to me was the foundation of what they were able to build. Now the other shit, yeah, but the price thing, and that's like where I think Tony Khan could really take, because right now times are tough, and I know Tony Khan or Nick Khan has the people who will give him the money. Saudi will give him the money, but that leaves a big market out there for us fans like me, or the people who did, rely on the WWE structure, fan friendly, price structure to go. So they're out there. Tony, go get them. Yes, please. I can't talk today. Please like and subscribe. Yeah, we went over it last night on the Peacemaker show. We will definitely go in definitely in depth tomorrow or today's. I'll be right back. I gotta go fix something. Give me 2 minutes. Be right back. All right, got that fixed. But yeah, we will go into some details and what it can mean. Like I said, I mean, we're getting it back in Vegas, this year, which is, first time in a long time we've had back to back. But yeah, this whole Saudi thing, I don't like any, be honest with you, even when it comes to AEW's pay-per-views, I don't like having these pay-per-views in other countries because of that, just my own selfishness. The time zone situation, you get up like 10 o'clock in the morning. If it ain't football, I don't want to do it. Hello, Duckman. Yeah, Duckman was there to me today. Hello, Koala. I'm Dr. Koala. Lyft is a racket. I wanted to take a Lyft to the Sci-Fi Center, and it cost $27. But to take the Lyft to Sister Kim's, it was $20. Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if Uber does that the same way. You tell me about that. I'm like, yeah, but I believe it though. Didn't get to watch yesterday. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Rocky after. Yeah, the cleanup went well. Quickest cleanup I've had in a long time. I had everybody there. Everybody had their predestination places of where they were going to do this. So everybody knew before the show what they were going to grab and what they were going to do for the most part. So I basically was there unplugging stuff, taking our equipment, our projector and everything and putting it somewhere else and just making sure everything went well. Pretty even kill. Like I said, I was worried because this particular crew, this cast that I have now, has never done a Friday show, so I was worried that it would even draw, but it drew. Film Psychic, nice to see me live. Yeah, as opposed to the other day. Yeah, yeah. I always want to be alive. I got you. I know what you mean. Thank you for joining us. By the way, Paramount is not going to buy WD. They put it out. Paramount is not going to buy WB. They put it out a bid others can match or bid higher. Apple is going to buy. Apple's has. People keep telling me Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon, which would all be fine. You want somebody with deep pockets to do this, but all of these groups have had ample opportunity to bid against no one. Apple could have bid against themselves and just gotten it. I mean, Microsoft would be, no one's going to challenge them if they wanted to bid for it now. So I don't know who is going to outbid these guys when they've had ample time to make bids themselves. Why wait for a bidding war and so that the price of the stock and thus the value of the company would go up, and you're costing yourself more money? I mean, these I mean, if Apple and Microsoft and Amazon wanted it, I think they would have gotten it by now. There was nothing standing in their way. So I don't know. Maybe, but either way, I suspect that there's going to be new bosses at Warner Brothers at one point. What is your fan pitch? What is my fan pitch for Lanterns if you're hypothetically writing a show? I don't have one, Psyche, to be honest with you. I am basically throwing myself in whatever Damon Lindelof has given me. This true detective type situation that he that he's thrown out there is to my liking. I mean, there's a lot of Green Lantern stories out there, but see, here's the thing, though, and here's where I stay away from my pitch for Lanterns, is because of the fact that all of my experiences has come from the comic book, other than the Goofy movie and or a cartoon. What he's gonna do, and what David Lindelof has a talent for doing, is making these things real. He's kind of like Zack Snyder in that respect, and it's not, the irony is not lost on me that they both worked on Watchmen. So I got a feeling it's going to be what he's going to give me. But man, if I had to pitch, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because, like I said, it's I haven't really thought about it. I've only thought about what they're going to give me here. So get back with me later on. I might have a different situation, different mindset. Happy birthday, Antonio. Listen, dude, like I said, celebrate it. They are not guaranteed, so enjoy your day. Yeah, Brad gets up to go to the dojo on the weekends, especially on Saturdays. It's like the big day because it's a weekend. He gets up early to do training with the kids there. So I'm assuming it's like a 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning type of situation, which means he would be sound asleep by now. I mean, I'm pretty sure the people who grew up in 1968 would probably have a different, would say it was worse then, but it's not good now. It's not as good as we can be. And when you talk about America and things like that, I am a hopeless optimist when it comes to, I know we're not perfect, but the aim is there. The idea is there. As long as we continue to hold ourselves accountable to the Constitution and what it says, it'll give us everything we need. It's when we disregard it and we distort it is when we have the problems. I'm pretty much, I think you met sentiment about them going to Saudi Arabia, but if W went to Israel knowing what they're committing genocide, I got to leave that one alone, man. You might blow it. You're going to blow up my show. Here's the thing. I'm going to keep it limited to Saudi Arabia simply because that's where they're going. They are, the fact is they are not going to Israel. And I have detailed thoughts about the Middle East because I've been there and I've been studying the Middle East since I was 6 years old. I remember hearing when Anwar Sadat was assassinated. I studied the Camp David Accords. I've grown up closely watching the situation. I grew up studying and watching as much news as I could get my hands on about Golda Meir, about Ishak Rabin, about Ariel Sharon. And I grew up, I knew well enough about the Middle East to understand Ariel Sharon, the Likud Party, all these things. If I wanted to, I could do a stream on that. But I'm not a political streamer. And it's a complicated enough situation to where I've always told you this is a place where you can come and not be alienated. But on a different time or place, sitting at a coffee table in a cafe somewhere, I have done so. I have done so in the countries of question, sat and debated and gone back and forth without raising any of our voices, and talked about the situation in the Middle East with various manner of residents in each particular country, and I've never had an issue with them, and we could not even agree and get up and walk away and just still have that respect. The unfortunately, the problem isn't having a conversation on a platform like this. Is the problem is the respect for any point of view. So you can't really have it on a science fiction, horror, and fantasy show. But trust me, I am not oblivious to what's going on in the world, and I have very distinct opinions on certain governments, certain people running governments all over the world. But that's not what you come here for. So now, when it comes to WWE in Saudi Arabia, that's one I can't escape because that's not a hypothetical. They're going to Saudi Arabia. They've been going to Saudi Arabia. They've gone to Saudi Arabia when people in their hierarchy have been accused of murdering a U.S. resident. That's not an opinion that I get. That's a fact. That's a fact. When it comes to the whole September 11th, we as Americans have been sensitive to that for the last 24 years, given the amount of Saudi Arabia. But once again, complicated situation. They're also our allies in the Middle East. The Middle East is a complicated situation. There's really no black or white. It's a whole lot of gray. So, like I said, we're not a political show. That doesn't mean I don't have an opinion. But I'm not going to create a space here where not everybody can feel comfortable. So, hello, Rhea. How you doing? Rhea's another night owl. What's up? Let's see. It's a region. It's a fraught region. Like I said, I've had, not to say the pleasure, but I've had the opportunity. There you go. The opportunity to step foot in that region. And conversations are different when you're there. Yeah, me too. My plane's about to land, but it's the plane of a gentleman. Let's see. Hey, like I said, I could go. We've had these discussions about global things right now, but once again, I have promised people a place to come out from the rain, and I just don't want to take that away from them. Yeah, my Aaron, I told you, me and you are gonna have, after we're done with our trip in the Outback, if we survive, we need to go to a wrestling event. And I know there's a place that we can get animatronic kangaroos that we can actually ride, which means they'll never get tired. It's like Five Nights at Freddy, but kangaroos. So when I land in Australia, I fully expect you to come hopping along in one of them. You don't even have to stop. It's going to be up to me to jump on, and we're going to go. But no, yeah, AEW's actually done pretty well in Australia. With AEW, because the stuff is 5 hours long. Yeah, his pay-per-views are very long, and I've been to his pay-per-views live, and I'm there live, and usually the time flies for you when you're there at a pay-per-view live. You're amped up, you're in the environment, but yeah. But I like I said, AEW just doesn't give me bad pay-per-views, man. They just don't. I'm not sure yet, guys. I'm not sure. Like I said, we'll go into this detail tomorrow. Right now, they are preparing a bid. That's all it is right now. Yeah, but still, some of it is still going to be it's still going to be WBs. But if it's any one of these companies that outbid them, all the companies that you hear banting about the name can all afford to absorb that debt. It's the ones at Universal that won't do that. It's the ones like, the other some of the other companies that were I don't think Netflix has money, but I don't think Netflix wants to absorb that. They operate at a $14 billion deficit. So yeah, that's something that the SEC is supposed to be looking in, but I don't think they're going to be looking in that direction. Yeah, and HBO Max says they're raising the prices, and you know what their reason is we just think they're too cheap right now. They're not even lying about gouging you. Yeah, that's what I mean. So if other bidders get involved, you're in a bidding war now. I mean, and now you're just raising the price of the stock for it. It may not even be worth it. Remember now, you're trying to keep them at an optimum, so when you absorb that $35 billion in debt, it doesn't hurt as much. But right now, I don't know. I keep hearing other people are bidding for them. I haven't heard about any of them. I haven't heard. And like I said, they've had years now. See, the thing about it that makes me think the Paramount thing is realer than not is because as soon as Paramount could, they did. Paramount just got done merging with Skydance. So they didn't wait. All these other entities have been around and had the opportunity. They've been staring at the product. As soon as Paramount Skydance could, they did, or they are doing. So I don't know if anybody else. I mean, everybody else had the opportunity to do the exact same thing. So I don't know. Oh, Chuck, what's going on? Yeah, Beyonce is ageless too. Her and Jay-Z gonna live forever. That Dixon, that show being the trailer killer, he kills guys, stuff, puts him in the. Oh, you talking about I know you're talking about the guy who killed Kyle Rayner's daughter. Well, yeah, your world was at war, and the U.S. hadn't even gotten involved into it. Well, here's the thing: when it comes to Saudi Arabia, I don't. I like my wrestling the way I like my wrestling, and listen, I can respect the Arabic, the Muslim beliefs. Certain outfits can't be looking like this. Certain routines can't be doing this. And I'm like, if you got to change your product, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a perv or anything, but the rest of wrestling girl outfits they're nice. They're part of their personalities. I don't want to see Lyra Rakira coming out, top to bottom wearing a damn jumpsuit because, and I can respect their policy. That's fine. But you're taking your product and bringing it over there. It's like, it's no fun. All right, because I just had a conversation with an AEW fan, which I watch AEW, and he's saying TNA is Michael Jordan, and AEW with LeBron James. I think very confident. Well, that's not. I mean, LeBron James is going to be end up when he wraps it up, and he may never stop playing. You've seen this. I watch him here. I watch him on my TV. I'm a Laker fan, and we got the Lakers channel here. LeBron James may never stop playing. But listen, I hear TNA people telling me TNA is number 2 and they're taking over because it's partnership with WWE. You are sniffing pure cocaine if you think, and I love TNA. I've been since the first pay-per-view of TNA, the first moment of TNA. And you've seen me in my pictures with my belts going to live TNA events before the WWE partnership, before it was cool to be a TNA fan. When everybody said TNA was going to die in 5 years, 22 years later, they're not dead. But now they got this partnership with WWE, and everybody thinks that, they're going to bypass. And listen, you can be a mark and try to undermine the success of AEW if you want to. You just look like a fool. All right. Say what you want about Tony Khan. I think he's done a great job given the circumstances and the time that he's had to do this in. Does it need to improve? Yes, every federation out there needs to improve. That includes the WWE. But for where he's at right now, TNA doesn't even have a TV deal. And even when they do get a TV deal, it's not going to be anything close to what AEW has. So, yeah, I love having TNA on the market. It gives people jobs and it's a fun product. I love the product, but getting all crazy saying, TNA's number 2, I'm like, no. First of all, they're nowhere near number 2 because WWE is dealing with them. They wouldn't be working with them if they were a close competitor to them. So, yeah, have fun with TNA, but let's not get crazy. I think, like I said, we're not going to do it here. But if you're going to sit down with me and we're going to talk that region, we ain't doing it based on what some people, and I'm not saying this is you, Aaron, but a lot of people do this. We're not doing what you saw in the news or you read on a highlight somewhere or on the front page or something you remember from when you were a little kid. If we're going to have a conversation about the Middle East, I need you to know what the fuck you're talking about, because I think that's the biggest problem. Every time it comes up here at the water cooler, oh, they've been fighting for thousands of years, it's never going to end. What kind of hopeless fucking bullshit is that? That tells me you don't understand jack shit. So yeah, if we were ever going to have it, and like I said, you also have to be careful who you have these conversations with. They don't have to agree with you. Agreement is not a prerequisite to have a conversation, but there needs to be a skilled understanding about you understand what it's like to either be in that region or to at least study that region beyond the superficial bullshit. You also have to be able to put yourselves in the shoes of everybody in the region and look at the point of view from where they're at. It's easy to say, well, this group of people, or this is, they're this and they're that. You will probably never step foot within 1,000 miles of that region. And to say, and misused terms, I see a lot of misused terms that people use in describing another ethnicity that lives in an area. So if we were ever going to have this conversation, there's got to be qualifiers involved. You got to know what the fuck you're talking about, because I can't have the Cro-Mag conversation. Well, they've been doing it for this long. It's never going to, I don't know. Why don't we just nuke them out? I cannot stand the caveman conversation. I would rather you just shut the fuck up and don't say anything about it than have some knuckle dragging, club carrying bullshit it's like talking to the drunk at the bar. Once you realize that person's drunk, it's time. I got to go to the bathroom. Wow. I got to go, meet this other person. You need to get out of the conversation. But like I said, it probably will never happen on this channel. It will never happen on this channel because, like I said, I'm not ready to alienate people who, even if I disagree with them, may have a point of view that's valid. But people get in their feelings and they'll be like, it's not ready like that. Maybe some years down the line, once I'm done talking about geek stuff, maybe. But right now, nah. I have my opinions on a lot of stuff on this world, and I'm sick of it. And I try to disengage with it, like you do with your show. Yeah, and like I said, don't get me wrong, guys. I have some serious opinions about some serious shit. Trust me, I watch this stuff. Like I said, since I was 6 years old, I knew who Anwar Sadat was. I knew who I know. I can name you several Israeli primary. I can name you the current one. And his predecessor, I can tell you who's running at any given time, depending on what time of year you want to catch me. I can tell you who's running for parliament and prime minister. I can tell you what current party is in power in Israel right now. But if I'm going to have a conversation with these things, it can't be some blanket bullshit. Well, they're all this and they're all that. As soon as I hear that out of somebody's mouth, I just don't want to talk to you anymore. There is no all this or all that over there. There's just, when I see blanket statements made towards Arabs, it angers me. And when I see blanket statements made towards the Jewish population of the Middle East, it bothers me. 90% of those people over there just want to live in peace. Your extremism on either end, no matter where you point to in that region, has driven the car for too long. And I think around the world, I think extremism around the world has been a poor representation of what is mostly good people. But like I said, that's further than I wanted to go, but that gives you a glimpse of how I feel. How you doing, Droga? Now we got two Aussies in here. What's up? Let's see. Yep, happy birthday. Happy birthday. So that makes you a Virgo, right, then, Antonio? I don't think you're going to see those deals in any of those places. China's closing up. China's doing their own thing. China, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see China. Well, you have Japan. I wouldn't see if China started doing their own thing, creating their own federation. Lantern for me is Sinestro. Lantern will kill Guy's stuff. And oh yeah, I don't think you're going to see Guy Gardner there very much. I think he's going to be in it. He's a Green Lantern, but I don't think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan show. I don't know. I mean, I think I would be as irresponsible in saying yes as I would be in saying no. I have my preferences, and we went over them last night, and we'll go over them in at length tomorrow. But you're spending $40 billion, and then you're on the company itself, and then you're spending another $35 billion in debt in cash to assume a company. It will be really hard for me to imagine that someone coming in just having done that would not craft their own thing. Now, I don't know what the priorities are, though. I mean, he may think DC Studios or something is not a priority for him right now, and he may get around to it. And in that interim, he'd make, well, why don't I see what this guy is doing, and we'll see where it goes when I get around to DC Studios. Let me see where I'm at. Or he may come in with DC as a high priority, and it's fanboy could say, well, you can't do that. James Gunn is doing his blah, 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 and he's been successful. That guy's not going to give a fuck. If you just dropped a total of 70 some odd billion dollars in either debt in value and cash on a company, you're not going to give two flying flat fucks on what a YouTuber says or someone in the chat says or someone on Twitter says. You're there being able to do that for a reason. Now, does that automatically mean he's going to kind of come and blow up house? Nah, maybe he, see, I have to hear it from him. Maybe he's a fan of what's going on. But we also have to keep ourselves open to the possibility that it has happened every time someone has taken over Warner Brothers. Every time somebody's taken over the leadership of DC and or Warner Brothers, there's been changes. There's been dramatic changes. So to assume that that's a zero possibility, I think that would be foolish. Now, like I said, I hope that he stands back a little bit and lets at least the current things run their course, because I think DC's biggest enemy has been reboots, reimaginings, resets, and all the other bullshit, not just in the last 10 years. It's been the worst in the last 10 years and 15 years, but everything's Crisis of Infinite Earth. DC has done so much damage to its continuity as a brand that they're not trustworthy anymore. That's why we're dancing around, and when Superman crossed 500 million, we were doing a happy dance because the brand damage had been so deep and for so long that that's a success now. So yeah, continuity is king. Continuity is cash. And I would hate to see for someone come in, and he would have every right to do this if he chose to do this and blow everything up when I just went through this. So that's my preference, but we'll go in that in detail tomorrow. Yep. He was already doing Australian shows. And Tony Storm is big on Australia. David Zaslav told Puck News that the deal he was offered was low. It was a low bid. Warner Brothers is not taking that money because they're gonna. They're not. But here's the thing, though: who's offering? Who's offering? That's my thing. I mean, yeah, you could be. He knows more than I do, but I'm trying to figure out who's gonna make an offer now when they could have made the same offer and been non-competitive months ago, years ago. I don't know. Yeah, they got to be top to bottom. And there's a lot of wrestlers who, like I said, their outfits are part of Stephanie Baker. Her outfit is part of her persona. It's part of her gimmick. It's part of her stick. I mean, yeah. Well, they're doing that. They're doing that right now. Everything AEW is currently doing right now, other than getting a TV deal from Ring of Honor, they're doing. Tony Baker, yeah, Paramount buys WBD, and the owner of Paramount is a fan of James Gunn movies, and he decides to keep James Gunn and ask him. Yeah, but yeah, exactly. It's gonna be his. It's gonna be the David Ellison's decisions. If you look at the price of an AEW show, and I've gone to them, and now they're getting any cheaper, it looks like he's going to a strategy to get people in. Oh, I love watching TNA. I mean, you don't see it here now, but you know I have TNA belts. In fact, I mean, it's just for anybody who just thinks I'm blowing smoke out of my ass when it comes to TNA. Do I still have these pictures on here? Well, this is at a TNA event. This is where I met Okada. Signed my IWGP. He signed at the top there. He signed it in Japanese and English. Well, Okada, if you watch wrestling, he's one of the goats. Did I get I think I might have deleted my one with Moose. Yeah, I deleted the one with Moose, but here's Ric Flair. That day he didn't sign my belt. That pissed me off, but he eventually did. There's Jay White with my IWGP. He had, and I signed that one. He signed that one, and that's the one you see on the right is the one I have behind my head here. That's the IWGP Super Heavyweight. Here we go. See, here I am. I'm at a TNA event with my TNA World Championship belt that Moose just signed, and Joe Hendry signed. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of TNA. You're not gonna, but like I said, I know where they're at. Oh, dude, you're reaching Brad territory, Chuck Cage. How do you know when a joke is a dad joke? When it becomes, Jesus Christ. Hi, Spot. How are you doing? That is crazy. They're gonna make over $5 billion this year. If they fired DeLuca and Abby, they'll go after. Well, here's the thing, though, and I said this last night. Ellison may have people he's talking to that he thinks are better than Abney and DeLuca. I like Abney and DeLuca, and I've been advocating for them to keep their jobs because I thought they were being put in a shit situation, and their termination has been rumored like for 2 years now, and they're still there making money. But never. When you guys think that somebody can't be fired or that this person is making a mistake by firing this guy, we're not in on the conversation that they're having. They may be talking to higher tier talent. They may be talking to people that they've been working with for the last 5, 6, 7, 10 years that they trust. And when you're spinning this kind of movie, you want people in those positions you trust. Sure, they may stick with the people that are there, but they have every right to have conversations and explore, elsewise. You know what I mean? No, I'm done with boxing for the most part. Brad is asleep. Brad is on the East Coast, and Brad is getting up early in the morning to get beat up by little kung fu people. Let's see. Oh yeah, I want to see Georgia so I can see Anthony ACS. He's struggling with his team. All right, let's see. I'm just seeing, is that a reprint? Nope, that is a good one. Key issue. All right, sorry, I'm just checking emails. You're cold open. You have moose. Yeah, that's that. That's that one. That's this one. And TNA. I remember being in the elevator. I was in the elevator with the TNA, the brand manager, the guy who does their merchandise, and he was making fun of me because I had a bootleg belt because it's a bootleg belt. And I'm like, well, where's yours? Give me the link to yours. I'll buy yours right here, right now. Well, we don't have one yet. You know, it'll be out soon. That was 2 years ago. So yeah. Hey, it's me and Zack Snyder. Yay. Me, Zack Snyder, Austin, Bradley, getting our football side. I still have that football. The football's right behind me. I still got some of these crazy pictures up there. Yeah, I got Aaron fighting Bruce Lee. Aaron is going to lose this one. I'm sorry. I don't think she's got much of a chance there. Okay. I'm assuming so because we're going to do it at like 3 something. I mean, I try to do those at 3 so that he's available. But if he tells me no, then, I mean, listen, we can go forever without seeing Mystery Man. All right, guys. Yeah, I think Bruce would probably beat the hell out of all of us. I've got to put you in there with Chuck Norris. All right, guys, that's it. This was a quickie just to get some energy out of me so I can eat my food and relax, turn on the massage chair, and get ready for what's hopefully a prosperous Saturday. I haven't made my final decision on the overnight live show yet. I really enjoyed last week, by the way. If you guys haven't had a chance to watch that show, I really enjoyed the range of topics and discourse we covered in a 3-hour period. Not the most watched show we've ever done, but I looked at that show after I was done because I rewatch our shows, or to see where we can get better. And I really enjoyed listening to that show. We covered a lot in that show. We covered from Biggie, we covered Phantom of the Opera, we covered grunge, Nevermind, we covered all kinds of things. We covered Dexter. I mean, we did it seamlessly. Nothing was jammed in to each other. So I really enjoyed that show. So I'm still making a final decision on the Saturday Overnight Live show, but like I said, tomorrow we'll have one simply because there's just a lot to talk about that will not fit on a Sunday 1.5-hour show. So, but like I said, plan on early afternoon or late afternoon doing this god awful Shrek of a superhero mockery Mystery Men. So there you go. All right, guys. That'll be it tonight. I will see you this afternoon at the very least. Bye-bye.